Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Goldenkoff and Mr. Powner, as of April of 2018, there were 30 outstanding GAO recommendations specific to the 2020 census. Will you please list a few of these major recommendations that have not been implemented?
Yeah, as we have made actually 84 recommendations related to the 2020 census over the last several years. And as you mentioned, to date, 54 have been implemented, 30 are still open. Among the recommendations that are still open, they deal with some research and testing, IT security, systems development, recommendations aimed at strengthening their cost estimation and scheduling processes. So they have been making progress. We do meet with them on a regular basis. They have agreed generally with all of our recommendations, and it's encouraging that they continue to work with us and embrace those recommendations.
So you feel that they're making adequate progress?
And that my colleague here, Mr. Powner, can discuss the IT side of the House. I think that, for where they are, we are, compared to other agencies that sometimes resist our recommendations, it's encouraging that we've been meeting with some high-level people, not only at the Census Bureau, but also at the Department of Commerce, and they are working with us to implement the recommendations. We would always like to see things done faster. We want to see all 30 open recommendations closed. But they are making steady progress. Dave, from the IT?
Yeah, I think clearly they're focused on the right things, getting the systems developed, tested, and secured. The issue here is they were late. There was a big cost increase. A lot of that cost increase went to the IT systems. We got a technical integration contract. There's currently working overtime. You only work overtime when you're behind schedule. So those are the watch list items that we're looking at. But they're clearly focused on the security and testing of those systems.
Do any of these 30 impact the accuracy of the census?
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, probably all of them do, either directly or indirectly. I mean, even things, for example, things that are if the Census Bureau starts falling behind schedule, starts implementing things late, if things don't perform as required, if they're unable to meet the operational loads required of the actual census, all those things could ultimately impact accuracy, directly or indirectly.
Would you, could you respond to whether or not, since the time you made the recommendations, that the Census Bureau's had time to implement these, to make sure that we have an accurate census?
Time is running out.
I think that I'm asking, have they had adequate time to resolve these, to respond to these recommendations?
In some cases, more than enough time. We made recommendations back in 2008 on asking the Census Bureau to improve the quality of their cost estimation process, and it was very discouraging that in 2016, when we issued a report on the 2020 cost estimation program, that there were still a number of issues with it, with their cost estimation program. I think they got the message. They got some additional expertise, both in-house and also with the Department of Commerce, and so we've seen some improvements there.
Is there time? Is there enough time left to respond, to finish the work that's needed to adequately address the other 30 recommendations?
I think so, if the Bureau prioritizes adequately.
Mr. Jarman, will the Census Bureau be able to complete to fulfill these recommendations before the census?
So thank you very much for the question. So we've responded to GAO with written documentation on all of the recommendations and what we're doing to work on them. I think, as my colleagues here have described, we've been making good progress. A really good example is the life cycle cost estimate, where we work with the Secretary and the team from Commerce to really sort of do a deep dive and get control of the cost estimate for the census.
So we can anticipate and we can count on the Census Bureau to complete all 30?
Absolutely. Okay.
Mr. Goldenkoff, we would appreciate it if you would provide that list to the committee for the record. My time's expired, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
The gentleman from Alabama yields back. The gentlelady from the District of Columbia is recognized. Thank you.